president today formally unveiling his executive order on gun control. Republicans, they say this president's out of control and seizing too much control on the issue. We're going to talk one-on-one to Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal about it. Then, as Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio continue to squabble over how to help the homeless, we'll take a look at how this is a problem that reaches far beyond just the 5 boroughs of New York. And also, Tom Coughlin, one of the many NFL coaches who left their jobs or were fired just in the past 24 hours. We're going to tell you why his departure is so different than the others. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We begin this evening with President Obama's big announcement on gun control. Well, today, he unveiled an executive order to get it done without getting Congress involved. It's a major presidential push towards gun control reform.
The constant excuses for inaction no longer do, no longer suffice. That's why we're here today. Not to debate the last mass shooting, but to do something to try to prevent the next one.
By executive action, gun sellers, online or at gun shows, must register as licensed gun dealers, and background checks would be required for the buyers, closing the so-called gun show loophole. President Obama's plan also includes overhauling the FBI's background check system, hiring 200 new ATF agents for investigations, increasing the use of mental health information for background checks, and requesting states include up-to-date information when it comes to criminal records. With families and victims of gun violence in the audience at the White House, the president was moved to tears, talking about the mass shootings since he took office and the Sandy Hook massacre that claimed the lives of 20 first graders.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
Presidential candidates reacted on the trail.
The president has not even attempted to point to a single mass shooting these actions he proposes would have prevented.
I will not only keep it going, I will do everything I can to try to convince the Congress to pass sensible gun safety measures.
Well, earlier today, our own Andrew Whitman, he spoke about all of this with Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal. And Andrew, for folks who don't remember, Blumenthal was one of the leading voices after the tragedy of Newtown, where, as we just told folks, 20 first graders in addition to 6 others were killed in that horrible day.
And you get the sense when you talk to him that he's taken the events at Sandy Hook Elementary to heart, Richard. But of course, anytime action is taken on gun control, there is always lots of criticism. So I posed some of those concerns to Senator Blumenthal this afternoon to see how he would respond. Senator Blumenthal, the president earlier today making his case for his executive actions on guns, given your long history on gun safety. I'm sure you support it, but there's lots of criticism as well from both sides. A lot of progressives are saying this wouldn't do a lot to save lives, wouldn't stop some of the mass shootings that we've seen. It is literally the least Washington can do on guns right now. How would you respond?
The president is using his existing authority because he can't make new law. Only Congress can change the law. But he is more effectively enforcing the law that exists now. Critics have been saying again and again and again, we don't need new laws, use your existing authority. That's what he is doing to make sure that people who are in the business of selling guns, who profit from them, do it repeatedly, are also required to be licensed and do background checks to keep guns out of the hands of criminals, drug addicts, other people who are dangerous like domestic abusers. So he is using all of his authority simply because Congress has failed to act, and Congress has been complicit by its inaction.
But it doesn't feel to a lot of people like this is going to do all that much to make that many people safer. Do you disagree, and can you explain why?
The president has said that it will save lives, and it will. It won't save all the lives that are lost through the epidemic of gun violence that we have in this country, but if he can use his existing authority to make more gun sellers comply with the law and do background checks and keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people, if those lives can be saved, all the better that we make use of the authority he has now. And, you know, here's the most important point. This nation must do better. Congress must pass new laws. In the meantime, while Congress is complicit in this epidemic of gun violence through its inaction, the president is stepping forward to use his existing authority as clearly and expansively as possible.
You've made it clear that you don't agree with the critics who say the president's overstepping his authority with the executive actions. If roles were reversed and it was a Republican president who was looking to increase gun rights, as supporters of guns would call it, through executive order, would you feel similarly that that president was within his rights as well?
The President of the United States is the chief executive of the country, and he has the responsibility to implement the law. So a failure to implement the law would be reprehensible if it caused loss of life. And certainly the epidemic of gun violence causes loss of life. So I hope that whoever is our next president will take whatever action she or he can to effectively implement the law.
A lot of critics, a lot of gun supporters, as expected, are saying this is just the beginning of the president looking to confiscate guns or take people's guns away. What reassurance can you provide responsible gun owners that that's not what the president or yourself or other Democrats are seeking to do here?
The law implemented by the President of the United States very simply and solely provides that certain categories of people cannot own guns. Criminals convicted of felonies, drug addicts, domestic abusers. The courts have held again and again and again that certain categories like them can be prohibited from owning guns, and certain categories of gun sellers, if they're in this business, can be prohibited from merchandising them without a license and without doing background checks. That's the law of the land. And the Second Amendment is also the law of the land, that people have a right, if they are law-abiding, if they're not convicted criminals, if they're not domestic abusers, if they're not drug addicts, they can own guns.
Beyond the policy, of course, is the politics. We're in a presidential election year. You're up for re-election this year as well. Are you hoping that gun safety becomes an election issue? And how do you think what the president did today factors into the races, both for the president and on the Senate or House level, including your race?
My hope is that increasingly Americans will become aware of the need for stronger laws to protect against the epidemic of gun violence that has become a public health crisis. Literally, if 30,000 people every year perished as a result of the flu or polio or some communicable disease, there would be a declaration of some kind of public health emergency. The same is true of guns. They cause 30,000 deaths a year, and we ought to be addressing it as a public health crisis. And if elections raise awareness about it, so much the better.
Finally, Senator, you said that Congress needs to take action beyond what the president has done. Most people don't think that's likely to happen, especially in an election year. What are you doing in Congress right now to try to keep the pedal to the metal, if you will, when it comes to gun safety?
I'll be supporting the president's executive orders and the measures he's taken, which are only a very partial solution, very modest. They are truly modest. As important as they are in creating momentum and moving the cause of gun violence prevention forward, they are still only a number of steps, first steps that need to be taken now. And so I'm going to be working to keep gun violence prevention on the agenda of Congress, raising the issue wherever possible, but at the same time knowing that there will probably be no action this session, and we'll have to look to the next session of Congress.
You know, Andrew, one of the things that jumps out at me at that from that conversation, for people who don't know, before he was senator, he was the attorney general. There's the veiled frustration that he's talking about, but the paralysis in this country on this issue, something as simple as to make sure criminals and people with mental health documented issues, let alone people on no-fly lists, don't get guns at gun shows, that even that still we're going to have litigation and everything else if it's overreached by the president. God, are we still stuck in the mire on this thing?
You know, between the two of us and we bring in the rest of the panel, thousands of politicians and elected officials that we've all interviewed or talked to over the years. And I'm not sure I've ever really heard an elected official say, Yeah, I don't think there's a lot we can do on a particular issue. Almost everybody throws in a pet, like, oh, I'm going to try this approach. I think the frustration is there because they really don't have a lot of recourse. There's nothing else to do. And yeah, why?
I'll get the table on this one too, Andrew, after the break. But your sense, it was interesting. I saw reaction from the NRA, and usually the knee-jerk thing is president does anything. If he picks up a pen, oh, he's come take our guns away. This is the beginning of the big creep here of government overreach.
And we've seen that today.
But I did hear from them saying, this is it? After 7 years, this is it? Some cosmetic little, move on gun shows? Now, I think it's a good thing. I'm not trying to minimize it, but at the end, nobody thinks, even the president today, that this is some game changer. That says, to me at least, as much as anything today, that the NRA was like, that's the whole thing?
And funny, the same criticism came from the left, from gun groups, gun support. I mean, they're happy that some steps are being taken, but this is it. And so you have both sides sort of parroting that same line. And I think, A, that gives you an idea of just where the roadblock is when it comes to all this. And B, and we'll get more into this in a moment, but I don't think that this was particularly a move about the specific steps that the president has taken. To me, this is a purely political move designed with political calculations and the campaign in mind. And of course, after the break, we'll analyze what that means.
Absolutely. And I defy anyone to say that this somehow makes America less safe than what was proposed today by the president.
Does it make it more safe? That's
fair enough,
an open question.
All right. We're going to bring in the panelists, just as Andrew said, but we want you to get involved in our conversation, too. So head over to Facebook and Twitter and sound off on our question, and here goes. Are you okay with the president, given the intraction in Congress right now, going around them on the issue of gun control and doing this by executive order? Tell us what you have to say. All right, coming up next, though, we will bring in our panel to discuss the political side of the president's gun control move.